Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Today we have the full house of the Phillips family.
Well,
We would like to introduce the other two with us, which is Sean Anthony and Elliot.
wrong.
We've been expecting you. Hello.
Okay, well,
Well,
thanks for that. That
uh,
that was
I
It
tried,
worked perfectly.
and here they are.
yes. Today we have everybody on the show to discuss a topic that Papa wants to bring us into himself.
Yes. Because as we all know, it's me. And now what we're going to be talking about today is we'll be talking about perspective. Last time we talked about human nature when I hosted. So this time we'll be talking about the perspectives of everything. Starting with the perspective, because me, Ellie, and Matthew and Teddy, we all talked about yesterday how we were all sitting there, right? And we were all trying to figure out what was going on in the world as we do every day. And what came up is we were watching the news and apparently reparations came up for past crimes and for past crimes that happened against us as black people. And we were all like, okay, that's a that's a good topic. But then we all got into a huge discussion because a person from the NAACP said that yes, the NAACP said that we don't need reparations. So before we go into any other topic, and as we let people get on here, we're going to go ahead and talk about, do we need reparations?
Do we? Because he said we don't.
So Teddy, Matthew, what are your opinions on this?
Yeah, I would say that we do need reparations, even if it's not monetary. Then you do deserve some form of reparations, because our people have been through a lot. Like even with us and with Fred Showsworth, and coming from a family who descended from slavery, we know that it was a struggle going on at discord between having wealth and just trying to survive.
I agree with Teddy on that.
Yeah,
note.
you would need to do that. I would prefer that we do have reparations. I don't know what happened and why only only one person dictated that, yeah, we don't need it, and they said, yeah, I guess you don't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that was the entire conversation too. I don't know why in the world one person was able to say we don't deserve reparations, because I don't know a single person who thinks in their mind that, oh, I've decided that we don't need it, so just throw it out the window.
Yeah, it's a democracy. So why would only one person be able to decide everybody else's future?
Exactly.
That's really. I don't think that's something that somebody can just do and then have everybody else be like, "Yeah, we're on board with that." Because that's not really how it works.
Yeah, it shocks and amazes because there's people out here who have been pushing for reparations for several years. Ever since the end of slavery, somebody has been pushing for reparations. But for some reason, somebody decided for the entire Native American, the entire,
And it was only for one state, the whole state. Somebody decided for the whole state. Yes,
exactly.
Yeah, like
this isn't neat.
Imagine that. Imagine if somebody told you that they don't want to vote, so that entire state just decides we're not going to vote. That's it. This one person walked in the door and said, I don't want it,
Yeah.
and walked out.
It's like if you ask for a candy bar, but the person right next to you, they don't like that candy, and they say, "No, I don't want that candy." And then they're like, "Well, you both don't get it then." And then they walk away with both the candies, and then you sitting there like, "Why did you say that?"
Exactly. It's,
Hey,
hey,
Miss
everyone.
Ludeman,
Hey,
I have that is our
what is it?
teacher. That was our teacher back in Florida Pitt Waller. It's great to see you again.
Indeed, it is.
Man, that was one of the moments in life where we were getting ourselves together for reading, even to get ready to talk to everyone like this, where you were speaking in the front of the classroom, reading a book in front of everyone, and knowing that if you mess up, somebody behind outside the class or 2 classes down is gonna be like, "Did you really do that?" And then you're gonna get made fun of. So it was always a pressure of make sure you read. Make sure you read. So
Yeah, as well as the fact that in class would be laughed up. You know, hilarious to see somebody slip up.
I was just telling Mom a story about school recently. Yes, she was also
Neighbor.
our neighbor as well, which was a pleasant surprise. I remember when we found that out. We were driving back to the house, and she comes out and says, "Hey," and we're like, "Oh, she's here," and then we realized, "Oh no, she's our neighbor." So that was also encouragement to make sure that you stay on top of your studies.
So you first thought you just decided to follow
pay
you
a visit to
home.
the house, yes, but it was also a
Yeah.
school area, so we knew where.
You far behind. She was like, "I gotta follow them."
To say our grades were too far behind. It was just the fact that if a teacher visits your home, well, you got to be a little bit worried. You got to be because you're thinking, did I laugh? Did my friend say something while I was gone? Did they figure out what I did?
Now look at you all.
Too hard during
I'm
class.
proud of how much you've grown up. Your confidence has grown with you. Thank you. Yes, I was always watching you. Yeah.
She followed you home and bought the house.
Yes, it was one of our many influences to do well in school, and it really does encourage you to keep going, even though, despite there's not a lot of teachers out here that are that hands-on with students, and as we're even seeing down in Florida where it's being discouraged. It's rather sad. So I am very appreciative of Miss Luderman and what she helped me and Papa do with our studies, which is also why we're so hard on you and Matthew. Also, y'all don't remember me, but I spent time with your mother and father in our first term. Oh, come on, Eric. Okay,
We remember.
let's give y'all the example. Y'all remember going over to an apartment and meeting a little dog named Simba?
Oh yeah, I can never forget that.
Do you also remember where the first new Super Mario Bros. Wii game came from?
Mm-hmm. It was
Look
good.
no further than Eric. He's the one that gave you that game, and we said, "Yeah, go ahead, take it home." We played that game to death, quite literally.
It was the best game.
It broke.
Yeah, it quite literally burned out the Wii several times after we played it. It was
Yes,
like,
because of the technology in it, technically lasering it half to death. No wonder it
No.
let's
Let's not blame the Wii system.
Yeah, let's not
I think we're good with embarrassing stories.
Nah.
I know that we have quite a few embarrassing stories about us in school, but we also have some pretty fun ones.
As long as, well, we also have funny stories. Why did I say it as long as?
Eric, yes, absolutely. We weren't going to forget that. And yes, we do remember. We had that
We
game.
still have that and we play it. Oh, do we play it?
Yeah, the Mario game may not work anymore. It quite literally burned
The
out.
Mario Kart and stuff definitely do.
Yeah,
and that
we still have those.
And
Yes,
God knows that Lego Batman game, Elliot.
Oh yes, the Lego Batman game to death. I would make Papa play it every single day. And when I saw him in the playroom, we had to play it no matter what.
Yeah,
I wanted to.
Don't remind me.
I want to destroy that disc. That disc took away so much time.
Jim
We
made
played
it more
so
comfortable
many other games.
transitioning from homeschooling and traditional schooling. Yes, thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you very much.
That the transition from going to homeschooling to from previously having done brick and mortar school was made a lot easier because you knew what to expect from a teacher, what to do if you didn't get that, where to reach out. It really helped you put things in perspective. And also, like I said, along with mom and dad being on us, it also encourages you like, hey, these people have invested time into you. Make sure that you at least try to do right, if not better, which is what our parents tell us all the time. We invest into you. We want you to do better. So that always goes in the back of our mind what we do.
The comments are really flowing in.
Sean Anthony, I just realized you aren't your dad. I thought Elliot was you.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah,
Me and Dad look so similar. And for a while back, I was able to call people on my phone and they thought I was Teddy. And it was so hilarious.
We would always.
Teddy would never say.
We would always
for people to be like, "Oh, it's you."
Mm-hmm. And then sometimes they'd be calling me, asking me for you, and they're like, "Oh no, you sound like Sean Anthony." So we would always be messing with him, like, "Yeah," and this, that, and the third, and it was a fun time.
Identity fraud is a crime.
In all fairness, later we discovered Eric didn't remember he loaned y'all that game. He was looking for it. Yeah, I didn't know that he was looking for it. I remember when you told us that. Like, he was looking for the game, but he had loaned it to us. And little did he know we were playing that game much.
We were playing that game to death. Mom, it would be bedtime, and we asked Mom for a couple more minutes to go ahead and complete the level.
Yeah, we were trying
that game so hard. It was
trying to do team up, ground pounds, all this other stuff.
Just like me and Elliot.
I think that's what started our completionist route. I think Eric conditioned that by giving us that game that we have to complete the whole game. We got to find all the coins. We need the best possible ending. And it all started with that game. I really forgot where that game went. Yes. Sorry for that. I remember when she told us that. And then we had called you, I think. It was like, yeah, we're taking good care of the game as well. And we still have the disc. It just don't work.
Hey Papa, are we gonna acknowledge how I'm a little taller than him? Just a little bit.
That's because you sitting in the chair. Stop messing. Today was my pleasure. Thank you for entrusting your precious boys to me. Yes, and thank you for taking good care of us so that we could
transition into homeschooling
and help others.
As well.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for all of your help.
Parents made sure you all toed the line, or your mama would tore you up. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's one of those embarrassing stories. If we did do right, make no mistake, Cinnamon would let her know. And then that was, yeah, when I say that it was an encouragement to keep your grades up, I mean just the way that she said. If you didn't, and she's your next door neighbor, your mom's gonna know, and then you're gonna be in trouble. So yes, it made sure that we definitely kept up good grades, or at the very least, made sure that we acted like it in class. I think the other thing was just we were introverted and we didn't really socialize with a lot of students. So when we were put on the forefront of do the work and then you submit it in, even walking to the teacher's desk, we didn't do that. So homeschooling really helped us keep to ourselves, but also excel academically, which is what we try to tell you and Matthew. Like, that's great and all for socialization.
Yeah.
But you all are also introverted, and we've seen you.
Because when I was state testing, the one thing that was really
every
hard
Mario game ever.
was socializing with people.
Yes, we do.
Surprise!
And so you best believe that when the Mario movie comes out, we'll have that too.
I really want to watch that Mario movie.
But yeah, out of all the people that we've met over the years, Miss Luderman and Eric definitely helped out a lot because Miss Luderman gave us so much knowledge. She helped us maintain our grades, and she also helped us learn a lot, as well as helping mom stay up with us so that she knew.
Yeah, that's how that went.
And I just want
to. And if you didn't, it was
I want to mention this.
Price to pay.
Is I completed a 50 point assignment, which is very high for right now. Before it was even due, I thought it was due that day, and I was doing everything. Apparently, it was due like in 2 weeks. It was due in 2 weeks.
Yes, 2 weeks. I remember.
Well, that's nice that you got the motivation to do it, right?
Yeah,
because you thought it would be due.
To do it, and now you know why. Even in brick and mortar school, there was no escaping that factor that you were going to be in trouble if you didn't do your work. We did not play with studies in this house. Jen,
and we never will.
You're not right. Never will. Jen was a great neighbor. She never told on y'all unless you were at
school.
Yes. Unless yes, make no mistake, our parents would come up to the school, and every now and again you would see their face in the door, and it was almost like they did it enough that you would think, are they outside the door right now? Let me make sure that I go ahead and get this done, and make sure that I'm not going to get in trouble, because they bust through the classroom door and say, make sure that they wouldn't do anything crazy, but they would say, hey, make sure you're paying attention in class. If they had to come in through the door, you knew you may just get a long talking to, but that's still something you didn't want.
Yeah.
Both your parents are smart. They have degrees and everything. I'm trying to keep up, but you guys will be even smarter.
And taller. Not because of the chair soon. Not because
you're stepping all that, by. Don't talk about being taller than your parents. You already know how your parents feel about that.
Not saying that I'm taller than him.
Yeah, but if you're taller than me, then you do.
But if I'm on my tippy toes and I'm counting my hair, I am. And that is actually
sure. But yes, the younger generation will always be smarter because they come up. That's how it's supposed to be. They come up under the generation that knew this stuff. Then it becomes common knowledge to them, to the younger upcoming generation.
And their brain expands.
And then they are able to expound on that and create even greater knowledge. And that's where we get into society today. And that's what we want to continue to do, even with our brothers and other people within our peer group, which is why we have this network. We want to encourage our peers so that that next generation continues to grow smarter and continues to help others. Helping Sean Anthony, remember where it was appropriate to use the bathroom?
Oh no.
Oh. Well, now I have some new dirt on you, Papa.
What you mean? Oh man, I remember that. I'm not gonna go into explanation.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
we
not
didn't
gonna-
go into detail.
No, no.
I think we all would like to
Don't be
know.
ashamed. It's in the past.
Ooh,
The
somebody.
past ain't gonna hurt you.
Well,
Now.
the past can hurt you, especially if it's with me. So I think I would like a bit of an
No,
explanation.
no. That's gonna need some explanation later on. Maybe if we do it behind the curtain show, we'll go ahead and do that. I'm definitely not going into explanation with that. We'll just say that one day I didn't know that the doors weren't locked to the school, and I did not going.
I'll keep that in
Yeah,
mind.
I don't know
I'll
why.
keep that in mind for later.
What's going on with this camera? It's like it's on a swivel of some
The
sort.
comments are
Yeah.
flowing in.
Yes, indeed they are. You're getting a lot. To give you an Elliott audio splitter headphone. Yes. Be on the lookout for that. Let's see here. Do you think people who are homeschooled have it easier than those who attend brick and mortar schools?
Let me answer this first. Yes, fully, because the things that I have seen.
I can see how you would feel about that, Matthew. But the other thing is, me and Papo have been in a brick and mortar school, and when you take that, is it easier? Is homeschooling easier than brick and mortar? I will say that it is.
Homeschooling is harder because you make your own schedule. You are your own teacher. You have to go in assignments, do this, do that, and the system keeps on getting more complicated and making it harder for you to go in different assignments. And it got to the point where one of my teachers didn't even know if you press a corner or arrow of that as sides through everything.
Yes, the thing is that even the people that are on the system, because make no mistake, that we are in an age of technology. So when they say homeschooling, they are using technology to teach you. But the thing is, even the people that are supposed to know how to operate the systems do not. So they rely on you to troubleshoot. But some people, when they homeschool, is because they are introverted, so they don't do a lot of explanation,
and
it makes it very difficult. So I wouldn't say that it is easier than brick and mortar. I would say that it is more flexible and convenient because you don't have to get up and go to a place to learn, and you only have to rely on yourself, as Matthew said, to get things done. Now that challenge can be hard, but it can also, it really pertains to you. If you're good at that, it may be easy. If you're bad at it, it may be a challenge.
And some of my friends think homeschooling means you are taught by your parents or one of your guardians. That is not fully the case sometimes. Sure, my family will teach me about my history and how to better myself. But besides from that, yeah.
Well, that all comes within homeschooling. You're also able to learn morals or things that you wouldn't generally practice within school because people take them out of it. And it's unfortunate, but that's what they do. It's never been as extreme as recently with Florida, which is devastating. There's unfortunate and then there's devastating. Make no mistake. The fact that education is under attack right now in Florida, and if one state can do it, you don't know what they're doing another. And when people already don't put a value on education, because let's face it, kids is still work. Nobody really wants to do work, but it's necessary.
And they're back.
And
you're on mute.
And you're muted.
Yeah,
we're on mute.
technical
Sorry.
difficulties happened for a second there.
You were trying to figure it out.
Okay.
You might want.
Yeah, they had
move
a
your
little
camera
bit
over.
of an audio issue, so want to make sure that we got them. But yes, homeschooling does offer you a lot of flexibilities. It has its pros and it has its cons. But as with anything, so we got to make sure that we stay on top of that.
This is a surprising amount of content.
Because the thing with brick and mortar schools is you'll be able to socialize more, but hey, at the cost of it's going to be harder to, in my opinion, it would be harder to focus because you're going to have your friends and stuff running around. And it's been a trend recently to be missing school, skipping classes and stuff. So it would be harder to actually gain your education, but you do get stuff like the social life and stuff. So like Teddy said, there's pros and cons to the situation.
Well, we're gonna get touch back on that comment later, but we have to make sure that we get these comments in.
Yeah, that we get all these comments in.
Because it took a while trying to fix the audio issue.
And now there's a
Yeah. I'd say we took a little bit.
Nah, it was rather long. See, I think it depends on the parents with you and Eddie as homeschooling. I would be a genius, but others not so much.
That's nice.
It does rely on the parents' will to learn themselves and to overcome those challenges. Because as we said, there are some challenges within homeschooling, but if the parent is not willing to go to overcome those challenges, or just goes, well, there is a better out for this, which is just send them to school, let it be somebody else's problem. Because I'm doing work, I'm doing this. I don't have time for these external factors. You're going to school. So it does rely on the parent and as well as the teachers who teach you within the homeschooling environment, because your parent in homeschooling is your primary teacher. And then you have the other teachers, which is your secondary, which you want to listen to and make sure that you're learning from. So it really becomes a juggle of responsibility of the teacher wants the parent to be the teacher at times, and then you want the teacher to also be the teacher. So that's where you may have conflict within the homeschooling environment, unless you are the head teacher, which in some homeschooling instances, that is what it is.
Really quickly, I just want to say, please like or follow or subscribe to the Erudition Network if you want more content like this. And yes, we do come on every Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, and sometimes it could be a special event like one of our birthdays.
And so, very good point. Make sure that you stay abreast with the network, because we want to engage with you all. We want to encourage not just our peers, but generations before, young and old, and upcoming. That is why we named it Erudition Generations. We need to bring that knowledge to the forefront of people so that younger generation can be smarter.
And I hope a younger generation type of person.
Bump the camera.
My bad. I hope somebody from this generation looks at us and is inspired to make their own videos, just like ours.
Expired. Matthew, I think you be inspired. We don't think that's expired.
I meant to say inspired.
Yeah, that.
Do not look forward to me.
Do not look forward to expiring. That sounds
happening now.
terrible. I pray that you all are smarter, but I also realize we all do foolish things. At times, that is what it is.
I just don't know.
But in a
We all do
homeschooling
make
environment, if it's like you're only doing with your family, other people, they may not have your best interests at heart, and that foolishness may get you severely hurt. And unfortunately, that was when me and Papa were in brick and mortar school. Now it's getting people killed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Witterman. Please make sure to hit me up with that information.
No,
I need some dirt on my brother here.
no, you don't need anything.
Yeah.
You got everything you need.
Yeah,
brothers were a
they
mess.
were a mess. Yeah, I can see that they
But
were a mess.
What you mean? You can see.
The love is still there with you as well. We can't deny that Miss Luderman was a very hands-on teacher that we had at Florida Pitt, and she made sure that we understood and got the work done.
I know my brothers are a mess. I live with them.
Yeah.
Oh. Go do his dirty life.
Yeah, exactly. You live with us. Just remember that.
But they're not that hard to deal with at times.
Speaking it on
Not
introverted
talking
and
about
extroverted, how would you describe your parents? Are they into are they intro or extroverted?
Wonderful. Just wonderful. My parents are.
Matthew, why are you saying that? Why are you saying that?
Why are you saying it like you're trying to avoid the
Question.
I ain't trying to avoid anything.
That's kind of a hard question.
Yeah, I can't tell.
At times they can be introverted, but at the same time, sometimes it's better to be they're introverted.
No, mom and dad are both introverted and outroverted. They're able to say at certain times they're introverted, and then at certain times they're, I wouldn't say extroverted, but they are pretty introverted in a way that they keep to themselves a bit, but they're also able to share with others.
Yeah,
so they're not.
The way we're running the
They're not completely extroverted, but they are able to go ahead and be a little extroverted at certain times.
It's good to have a bit of both, because
especially since they have some kids that, since we ourselves are most likely extroverted and introverted. So,
but you know what's funny is that is a good question that Eric brings up. Both, he says, speaking into extroverted, introvert, how would you describe your parents? Both intro or extroverted, and how so? And
I feel like they're extroverted and a little bit introverted. Since they have to spend most of their time with us, I can't really tell most of the times. Such as having to make sure we don't get kidnapped while they're away.
This got real dark, Matthew.
And there's a secret person trying to break into our house 20%.
But what I would say is that, you know what's funny is that you bring up extroverted and introverted. The person that created that theory, Carl Jung, which was a psychologist, when he created that, he also said that you have to maintain a healthy balance between extroverted and introverted. Because if you don't, you may go a little bit crazy. Introverted just means that you prefer to stick with into your own mind, which means you draw comfort from just being alone by yourself sometimes and thinking. But we all know that there's dark parts of the mind that you really don't want to explore too deep.
Yeah, no.
So when you go into that space for too long, you may not want to do that. You need some social interaction. That's why even the most introverted person will want some social interaction. It may not be for a long period of time, but they still require it. So I would say that they do maintain a healthy balance between introverted and extroverted, especially because it's all of us together. So they get plenty of social interaction.
I just now realized
maybe an overdose. Miss Ludeman. Well, we knew her as Miss Ludeman. Now she's married. So would it be, which one would she prefer? Miss Clark? Miss Ludeman? I don't know.
Who knows?
She can tell us.
Yes,
Yeah,
please tell us, because we knew her as Miss Ludeman, and it's conditioning, and now she's married. Now she has a maiden name of Clark. I remember when teacher Matthew maiden names, because we couldn't just have him going around calling mom and dad, because if you ever got lost, well, mom and dad, and then that'd have been
No, I would just.
that's
call-
Oh, I
dangerous.
think we're losing them.
Uh,
Yeah, we're losing
we're
poor Teddy and Matthew.
Yeah, we're having.
It does that. It fluctuates.
Yeah.
And homeschooling has advantages of one-on-one instruction. I know we're losing comments too, and really being able to focus on your high needs, whereas sometimes parents don't have the education at the times to instruct in certain areas, especially in math and high school. Although it allows you to go at your own pace, sloth pace is not an acceptable one. No, it really isn't. Which is why to stay on pace, it means that you are comfortable in the environment that you're in. You don't have to go into another environment. You're comfortable right here.
I just know
that is about the only comfortability level that you need to have. You still have due dates, and if you don't meet them, there's punishment for that. Because you need to encourage that this needs to be done on this time, just like to prepare you in the real world when the boss says, hey, I need you to get this to me now or at this time of the week. You have a due date, you need to meet it. And it teaches you how to maintain that balance. However, if you fall off, there's still punishment for that. But if we weren't to I lost my train of thought there for a moment, but it does have its advantages. And it, as the world saw with COVID, which forced a lot of people to be in a homeschooling state, you have to make sure that you overcome those challenges and you get that work done. Do you think your mother and father are hard on you to learn more?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, yeah.
Yes.
Wow, well, you go like that.
Well, I would.
It's for the learning. It's to prepare you for the outside world.
Yes,
because of the stuff that I've seen.
So I wouldn't say that they're incredibly strict with it, but they are pretty hard on you to learn because knowledge is something that can never be taken away from you. Once you learn it, you pretty much have it forever.
Yeah.
So at the very least, if you learn it, even if you don't use it one day, you can at least go ahead and say that you learned something. Because as our father says, you don't have to always use it, but at the very least, you can go ahead and know it to a certain extent, so that you can go ahead and be able to go ahead and be at least a smart person. If it ever comes up, you could be the smartest person in the room.
Well, you may not have to be the smartest person, which is what Dad says. You don't have to be the smartest person, but just try your best not to be the most unknowledgeable person in the room. You want to be able to put multiple skills at use. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and then be like, well, I only know this. If you were to ask me a question about this, I can really go into that. But then you don't know how it ties into everything. So then somebody says, well, what you said is good in theory, but here's the problem here. And the thing about theory, which is what we have went over recently, theory is falsible. It is only tested. It is a hypothesis tested, and then once it is tested, it can become a theory as long as it is consistent or it has some consistency. There's still going to be outliers.
It's already
so when you mess that up, you don't have anything. You don't even have a hypothesis. What you have is a failed.
Yeah, guess.
Yeah, and you really don't want to encourage that mentality because that leads to misinformation. Brick and mortar. Your kids are subject to exposure that you don't want them to be exposed to. You have an educator that is experienced in subjects to assist in learning. Socializing is very important, but can also be detrimental in certain circumstances. Your education can be derailed by other students who have behavioral issues. You may have stellar teachers like me, absolutely, who have high expectations for learning all students, whereas others who don't, due to race, gender, etc.
Well, I'll go ahead and go in on that. Then you can go ahead and cover it. To be honest, I do agree with that, but at the same time, you're going to get that exposure either way. We live in a very modern technological age where as long as you have a phone, a cell phone, or even a TV, you're going to be exposed to something, rather, or even if you don't want it to. Because at any moment in time, you can go ahead and pick up your phone on while because homeschool has that problem. Because no, don't look at me like that because I'm going through a college course right now, and that is a problem. People have to shut out their phone. They have to go to a room, place their phones in certain places because at any moment in time they can go ahead and pick up their phone.
And just guess.
Yeah,
And
and
not
start.
guess, but
No,
look at.
they can start talking to friends and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and get lost.
Basically, yeah.
And that
So
What-
at any time they can go ahead and get lost. And if a friend calls them on the phone, they can go ahead and pick up, talk to them for several hours, forget where the day went, and then
Yeah,
they'll completely lose themselves.
now they're behind in several assignments, and it's like, oh, I'll just do it until it becomes overwhelming, and then you have
and
an
that's
issue.
that's why so many people will sometimes wanted to shut down TikTok because of that reason. Because people were like, "Oh, let me just go on my phone real quick and watch a few," and then 3 hours later, it's 3 a.m. and you're not asleep yet, and you have work or get 6 a.m.
Yeah, but you do have to be careful for that one type of person though, because people go and see that as a problem, and they be like, "Well," and they're like, "Well, we have to fix the internet now.
Yeah.
The internet isn't your problem. The fact is, your problem is yourself. You're not looking at the actual problem, which is the fact that you're going on your phone and interacting with all this stuff."
Yeah.
And when you have
Procrastination is a huge problem nowadays.
If you don't
That's
have
you
this,
breaking up, Tay.
you're going
Yeah,
to
you're working
Oh,
out today.
I'm sorry if I was breaking up. What I said is that it's a lack of self-discipline. If you lack that discipline factor, then yeah, it's very easy to lose yourself entirely. I was talking to my friend for several hours and then I forgot I had an assignment due, and now I have less time to do it when I should have spent that time reading. And now I'm gonna be overstressed. And guess what? We know how this works. You get so raptured in an activity, and then you plan ahead of when can I see you again? Oh, maybe tomorrow. Oh yeah, man. And then you go, it's a pride factor of, man, I can't tell them that I can't meet up because I messed up the time. And then you get wrapped into the cycle. So no, you need to tell them, hey, it's more respectable to say, hey, I got something to do. I'll meet you later. Other than, well, I'm gonna neglect my studies, and now they're looking at you like, why can't you come? Well, because I made really, really bad decisions. Now it's gonna take even longer to go.
Yeah. And then they're gonna be like, "That was dumb of you," and then you ain't gonna have a friend no more because they ain't never gonna pick up no call ever again. They're gonna hit you with that. I don't associate with people who procrastinate all day. Sorry, you guys gonna call them again, and oh, my number is blocked. So,
On a random note,
Or
I
you can have the other end that goes, well, at least he's hanging out with me, and then you're in a trapped in nowhere situation, and that's how a lot of rom-coms form. Mom says teachers like Jen in brick and mortar schools it would make more sense to teach in brick and mortar schools, but teachers like her are hard to find, and unfortunately, they really are. I remember
Let me
there was
correct.
a couple of teachers. There was Miss Luderman, there was Miss Warner, there was Miss Gutierrez, there was Miss Madden, Veronica Madden. It's a lot of good teachers who actually enjoy teaching kids and want you to get the full understanding. But then there's also that fact of there's a lot of people that it's only a job. This is still their livelihood. If they don't, they have to do whatever the state is telling them to do, and they may not have the know-how to actually reach you. If you don't know,
but no, you continue. I don't
know how that student learns, or you're not going through all the processes of trying to do that, then unfortunately, you're going to have teachers that disengage and just go, well, I completed the job. That's it.
On the random note, I realized in some of the past recordings that I was just standing still like a mannequin.
Yeah,
So
you can always.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can like
It
move
does-
around a bit and respond to questions
it does
more.
not look human. It really does.
You just got to work on your resting face.
Yeah, if you feel like that, you can move around, smile, respond
Yeah,
to
turn.
questions more
You can
fluidly.
turn. Speak.
Yeah.
You go ahead, speak up,
Yeah,
interject yourself.
But I
Yeah,
get
not
it,
just-
because
not just-
it's also that thing that even all homeschoolers do it. Even if you are in a virtual webcam where everybody's in a meeting, you'll see them where they are just zoning off, because their resting face, they don't see an actual person that they can engage with, read their body language, and do that. It's a camera, and they go, "What happens now?" And I get that. That's probably where a lot of people say that social interaction is important. But you also got to keep in mind that even in brick and mortar school, Papa, how much were we really socializing if it was outside of recess? I should say, outside of recess, you don't know anything that's going on.
I mean, well, recess is the only time where you're actually supposed to socialize.
No, to be fair, because the school
Or
did
themselves.
try to encourage you to go ahead and interact with people. Because while in Florida Pitt Waller, there was a couple of things that you could do. Some of our teachers allowed us to read books. Some of our teachers gave us rewards at the end of the week to pick a toy, and then some of our teachers allowed certain times where you could go ahead and talk to people, as well as being in a line where you could go ahead and if you're not the line leader, then you could go ahead and talk to your friends. To be quite honest, you had times where you could talk to people. It was just more the fact of, are you going to stay focused? Do you not understand something, so you need to stay focused more? Or do you understand it and now you just want to talk to your friends?
Yeah, and people learn different ways. They want to talk about what they learned. Some and they use jargon and language that can, how should I say this, can reach the students to talk about it. Because if you straight up talk about, man, remember this topic in school, somebody may look at you crazy and be like, man, we just got out of school. Can you just give me 5 minutes to not remember school on break?
Yeah, but you also don't have that friend that comes up and says, hey, do you remember this? And when you say, I can't really focus on that, or I don't remember, you know what they do? They smile at you and be like, oh, really? And then you become the clown in that group for a bit.
Yeah.
Let's
So
real
we
quick
have-
get through the comments.
Yeah.
I'll
Yes.
answer this one.
Matthew, yes.
Never mind.
Matthew does. Yes, our parents are wonderful. However, it did feel like you were avoiding the question.
Yeah, you were definitely
I
avoiding
was
the
not
question.
avoiding any questions.
Your dad is introverted, but he has an extroverted temper.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. It's fair to say. Elliot, you and Matthew have a friend who asked me, why is school necessary? Can you, Matthew, tell us?
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't want to.
Camera cuts off.
She didn't ask for you. She asked for him.
Camera cuts off.
Actually, she
No,
said
no.
basically,
Go ahead, Matthew.
me and
Ask-
Matthew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The reason why school is necessary is because as when you're out in the real world, there, and especially in this generation, people are going to start expecting things from you. They're going to expect you to be able to do 9 times 10 or 40 times I'm 50 in kindergarten, and that is in China currently. But soon it will reach here, and soon, in freaking in college, you're going to have to solve 1 billion times 9 million trillion.
Yeah, with the alphabet.
Yeah,
If
simple
eh,
stuff you've never seen.
like Johnny has 99 plus apples, and that equals X amount of numbers. They're going
That's the math got to
to
the
ask,
camera.
and then you're going to be overwhelmed. You're gonna be like, "How did I get here? Why?" And then you're going to start freaking out. Oh,
So yeah, so that's why you say school is necessary because you need to be able to apply it to life and higher forms of education.
no, I'm not saying only that, but Elliot, you can say
But that's
what
the
you're
gist
gonna
of what
say.
you were saying.
Yes.
What's your point?
I can agree with Matthew a bit. School is necessary, number one, because it's school. You need it to survive. Like, if you don't go to school or kindergarten, how are you going to read? What are you going to do? And it's also necessary because, like Matthew said, you're going to need to do math to get jobs. You're going to need a diploma to get jobs too. School is very necessary. And if you don't have it, then you're probably going to die. You are going to.
I wanted to say, die more than that.
Because how are you going to pay for food?
You can
How are
always
you going to do the math to pay food?
Elliot,
okay. Right.
Elliot, it's
Makes
called
sense.
websites.
You can't do that if you don't have it. That's what he was
Okay,
saying.
Dang it!
So
No, even if you do have money, how are you going to use the money if you can't do the math to spend the right amount of money or spend the money in general? Because what if you got 99 cents and you see a TV that's $99 and you're like, oh, I got me enough. And you go up and you're like,
But no, Matthew Elliott, you all are missing the point. The reason why school is necessary is because you have parents and you have brothers.
oh, yeah, that's it.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
that part. You have parents that have brothers. You have a family, even our extended family, who heavily value education. And if you don't,
Well, that now.
Yeah,
encourage.
you pay the price.
And also,
So we have
school is necessary because I'm going to one day run up to you, knock you out, and make sure you answer a few questions.
What?
It's,
Oh, you gotta run up to them and answer this
if you
question
get
or else.
some,
You got it wrong.
if you get
hey,
answer,
whatever y'all encourage your brother to learn.
that was
That's between
Yeah, that's between you and
Yeah,
your
that's
brother.
between you and your brother.
But then there's like we're trying to get through the comments because remember it's only an hour.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Yes, and
Oh,
we're
yes.
already
Yeah.
3 minutes in.
I know. Yeah, conversations with us.
Yeah.
Just so
Yeah,
everyone
they
knows,
go on.
conversations like this happen all the time in this house, and yes, they go longer. I asked that all the time when I was a kid. I wish I paid more attention to studies. What did you all want to do in your life, or have you thought about that yet?
Well,
I can answer
my
that.
mouth closed.
I can answer that because as a young man and still as a young handsome man, I wanted to be. I wanted to be the president of the United States because I used to tell my parents about all of my amazing ideas and what I could do to make everything better for maybe just me, but for y'all too. but yeah, now I think I want to be someone who can help benefit society. So I don't want to be a teacher because school, but maybe someone like Because everybody wants their kid to be a doctor, but maybe I want to write books and be a
Uh,
scientist, I guess.
and then you
Scientist,
also said comedian, which you could.
well, yeah, I did want to be a comedian. Then my dreams were crushed. So yeah.
Oh wait,
And we
those are jobs.
the comedian is a job, and we had to show Elliot like, yes, that's great and all, but then we also show him Dr. Chen, which is a doctor
Oh no.
and a comedian.
I
already
have my
Eric.
first vote.
Yeah, you have Eric's vote, Elliot. God help us all.
Yeah.
Hold on.
So,
Since we're on that topic, I just want to say I want.
Oh
to
yeah, go ahead.
So Matthew, what have you thought about being?
a car salesman or a car tester.
A car test driver.
The freaking test people. that
Unless
test-
the car
Oh.
explodes.
Oh, you want to be the
Instructor.
Yeah.
I'm about to say,
Oh.
yeah, that I was.
Yeah, you want to be the dummy that crashes.
Yeah, I want to be that now. I don't care how well that pays. I'm never doing that crap. Gonna be crashing in the buildings.
Yeah,
and crap.
I wouldn't encourage you to
that's
be
a
the test
narcissist.
dummy. That was
Yeah.
a poor form choice. As for me, that would be psychology. I want to be a psychologist, or at least work in the field of psychology,
I
or
want to also make cars.
or at least have that degree that says, "Hey, I can stick through a program to get through a certification because it confirms to my employer, hey, I will do the necessary steps to get the certification if needed." And
That's your dream of being an architect. Did you give up all that?
architect is good too,
And I also
as
wanna
well
build
as a
that.
builder, because I like to build. But then there's also,
I like to build a shed.
but you also have to have multiple forms, and psychology isn't going to go away. Psychology, there's always people that need help. There's always going to be a need to help the human mind. So that's why I want to do that. Because let's face it, the way that we're using trees, you may not have enough wood for a house. Homelessness may be a problem for a whole nother reason. You feel me?
Yeah.
What? So we're answering this question, and then we're going to what you want to be, Papa. What about the Navy? What about the Navy, like your father, or a psychologist like your mother? Yes.
Well, hold on, because I can actually answer both questions with this. Because to be quite honest, for a while I was actually thinking of the military, because when I saw Dad leave for deployment and stuff, my thought was, man, he's protecting the country, and everybody was always talking about how it's a great thing that your father is enrolled in the military, in the Navy, and how he's protecting the country. And for a while, I was like, man. And then what Dad would tell us is, because on Thursdays, Dad would talk about how we have multiple ancestors that fought in wars, that that wanted to join the military but couldn't. And for a while, I thought, man, I want to enroll in the military at some point. But at the same time, there was also the things that Dad told us, as well as the fact that we have asthma. That was pretty much, possibly not going to do that, because the thing about asthma is that's an illness that's not going to go away, and that's if I could barely hold my breath, I don't want to be sitting somewhere needing an inhaler on the battlefield, not being able to breathe.
Doing the tear gas drill, and you already have a problem breathing, and then you
just
end up in medical.
So in other words, I pretty much thought just like you, Teddy, as well as Mom, because Mom and Dad both went into psychology a bit. So I thought for a while, okay, might as well go into psychology. But along the way, I also learned that I like to plant and I like to make food. So I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to go pursue the field of psychology. And then once I have enough money, I'm going to go ahead and pursue my other dream of being of owning my own restaurant.
Yeah.
So that I can have money to not only pay my employees, so I can have money to go ahead and pursue whatever dream I want to afterwards.
So what you're telling me is you wanted to go to the military for the fame, and then you realize
No, I wanted to go into the military because I wanted to protect the country. Because think about it, a line of we come from a line of of African Americans that went and served, and at this point, it pretty much felt like when Dad said that to us and told us about the history of Black people who served. I thought, well, I might as well be patriotic as well. I might as well go fight for my country as well because if if all of our ancestor has if all of our ancestors had fought for America, it would be wrong for me to go ahead and be like, well, I'm not going to go fight because I don't have a good reason. But seeing as how I have asthma, it's pretty much like, yeah, I can't really do that.
I'm glad that you
in the first
found
place.
other avenues, and that our parents encouraged you and told you that you can have other fields. But we're trying to get to the end of these comments because again, we're over that hour. I know Eddie had questions. Sean Anthony, how do you think your father's experience would be different from yours in the military as far as racism, or would there be a difference?
To be quite honest, I don't really think there would be a difference. And to be honest, I didn't really think about there being a difference in the first place. I pretty much thought that since Dad was in the military, he learned from experience. I would go ahead and ask him when I joined the military about his experiences so I can go ahead and learn a little bit. And to be honest, if any sort of racism or something had some sort of grasp on that, had some sort of bump in that road, I was just going to go ahead and deal with it because, in all honesty, it's not getting any better. Racism is always going to be a thing as long as people continue to deny their history. As long as people don't want to learn, there's going to be racism, and as long as people don't want to accept, there's going to be racism. So,
and as I predicted, it will be 900 or 9,000 years until that changes. So
I hope that that's wrong and that we get better. But I do. It gets. Yeah, doesn't seem like it's going anywhere.
It doesn't.
Slavery did go on for a long time.
How do you all feel after learning your learning style? Yes. We took a VARC test and decided to learn. How do we learn?
I'm more of a hearer.
I encourage
more of a visual.
A VARC test because you need.
What are y'all doing? Some Power Rangers?
Yeah. What about you, Papa?
Well,
are you the sniffer?
No, I'm a kinetic learner.
Here again. What about you, Teddy?
My first thing is visual and then kinesthetic.
Oh yeah, that's my thing.
And
I'm a kinesthetic learner, and Teddy's second learning style is kinesthetic.
And Matthew said this was
hearing and repeating.
Yes, he is an auditory learner. He learns by.
I'm different from you. You
pointed the wrong direction.
Actually, Matthew,
that's not the right direction.
My visual.
I'm different from
my visual was higher than yours, Matthew.
Y'all confusing everyone.
But no, to be honest, when I learned that I was a kinesthetic learner, everything did kind of put itself together because I do like having visual as well as things to read. But I also want to know from experience because, like I just said, I wanted to learn from what Dad said about the military so I could go ahead and do it. But at the same time, I was just going to go ahead and experience it as life went on. So in all honesty, I already know that, yeah, I am a kinesthetic learner because when I'm cooking, I always look at a recipe, I read it, I watch it, but then I also have to be like, it doesn't look like this. So I have to do a certain thing for it. I have to learn from experience.
Do it myself and figure out what I'm doing. And that I'm like that too. But first I can learn through the visual, but I may also have to put my hands on it, and that's what it takes. Yes, subscribe, like, and share.
Subscribe.
Great episode, boys. You all seem like you had fun. Yes, this was a lot of fun.
Yes, this was incredibly interactive, fun, and as much as I want to say, I probably have dirt that's about to come out to Elliot.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
See,
and
if you see somebody named Dirt Seller 999, just DM them and I'll give you info for about $50, $49. We can negotiate the price though, but don't tell nobody I said that.
What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, and
As
I do not have them at gunpoint right now. How about you tell them that?
It's not like that.
Yeah,
It's not like that,
yeah.
man.
It ain't all that bad. As black, but remember, we still have to close out the episode.
Oh yeah, we do have to
As
close up after this last question. We should stop.
I hope you change your that atmosphere and bring forth positive change, like I know you all will. Great episode.
Thank you.
Great episode. Give me back my
Actually, I think we gotta go.
We're going to put out Matthew already proved himself.
I think we're lagging. I'm sorry.
I was talking the whole time.
We can't see the comments anymore. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah. I guess it's time to go ahead and close up. Matthew, you start with closing statements, then Elliot. Then
all right, time to turn back around, Papa.
First.
Okay. School is important. If you don't learn it, I'm coming for you.
Oh well, there you go. Closing statements from you.
And I mean right now. I'm coming for you right now.
Well, I'd be worried about that. But I'd be more worried about subscribing, liking, and sharing our content.
Or let me guess, you're coming from too.
Actually, yeah.
Now we got Teddy. You got anything before I
go? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Erudition Generations. This is a labor of love, and we love to give you all information about places.
No. I learned a lot about that.
All right. Well, I guess we should cut to the smooth jazz.
Yep. Good night, everybody. Enjoy your evening.
And subscribe and like.